it's a creation. You're literally in a creative process when you're saying I am. So when you say I am afraid, I am depressed, I am anxious, you're literally creating more of that. Talk about in terms of meditation, like the importance of mantra, especially when you follow the words I am.
Cue music. Places, everybody places. We're starting in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Autoimmune Hour, where we look at the rise of autoimmune disorders. I've brought together top experts that range from doctors, specialists, nutritionists, researchers, and even those recovering from autoimmune to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information about autoimmunity and how to live your life uninterrupted.
Thank you for joining us here on the Autoimmune Hour with Sharon Sayler. Always seek sound legal, medical, and or professional advice regarding any problems, conditions, and any of the recommendations you see, hear, or read here on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio. Now, we don't want you to worry about taking too many notes, so you can join the Autoimmune Hour's Courage Club, and we'll send you the transcripts and show notes from every episode. Sign up now at understandingautoimmune.com. Now, back to your host, Sharon Sayler.
Welcome, everyone, to the Autoimmune Hour. I'm Sharon Sayler from SharonSayler.com, and I'm telling you right now, this is a pre-record, and it's bright and early in my morning, and I'm so excited to have Tamara Green and Dave Dachinger on the show again. And, you know, this is a dynamic duo couple, because I always say, how can a Grammy-nominated engineer, firefighter, and a social worker collaborate as a married couple and create adventures and adventure in empowering medical patients in architecting a joyful life through self-care and loving kindness. And their website is lovingmeditations.com. In 2013, David and Tamara heard the 6 words that changed their life. David, you have stage 4 cancer. And together they just fought through it all as an amazing couple and started this company called Loving Meditations about staying calm, grateful, and optimistic during these times of challenge. And I know we're kind of going to cancer, but you know what? Thriving is thriving, and this couple has absolutely shown the way how to thrive. So welcome, Tamara. Welcome, David. Thanks for being up early with me.
Thanks, Sharon. It's great to be with you again. And thanks for that introduction. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Especially this early in the morning, I'm telling you.
Exactly.
I'm Sharon. I'm going to have another drink of my cranberry juice. As I told David and Tamara right before we went live on this, no, it's not wine. It's cranberry. I don't know. Cranberry juice is good. It's so tart. It keeps your mouth nice and moist. And that's what I love about it.
It also makes you pucker. So it's kind of hard sometimes to form some words.
Yeah, but right after you do it, it definitely is. But I've found that I'm doing so much video conferencing and things like that. It just takes it out of me. And I find that the cranberry juice just keeps my mouth nice and moist. So there's a good tip for today. Is if you're doing a lot of phone conferencing, video conferencing, have some cranberry juice. It's healthy too, right? So Anyway, guys, thank you for being back. I called you up, I know, last week, and I said, we got to do this. I'm telling you, I just hearing so many people saying, you know, I was doing okay at first, but I'm running out of jazz. I'm just getting exhausted. And when we got on the call this morning, I just had to stop and remind myself what day it is. They're all running together in my mind. So I kind of feel like that surge of energy I had at the very beginning is kind of sputtering to a halt. So let's talk about keeping it going, keeping the optimism going, keeping ourselves going. And regardless of whether we have a diagnosis, at this point, I feel we're all in this same mode. At the beginning, I rather snarkily said to a few of my friends who were complaining about being afraid of all the germs and everything, I sort of said, welcome to my world. But anyway, so I feel
I'm
like
hearing
we're
that a
all
lot from, cancer patients. Hey, welcome to my world, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to have that mask on and be afraid of every cold and flu season. So anyway, let's talk a little bit. David, Tamara, tell us your story a little bit if people haven't seen you on the show before, and then we'll jump into Loving Meditations.
Well, thanks, Sharon. And yeah, as the intro said, the question we asked jokingly is, how can a composer slash firefighter and a social worker come together and create something that's actually a viable mission in the world. And we entered that mode of creating something when we heard the stage 4 cancer diagnosis. Up to that point, we had done a little bit of meditation on a YouTube channel together, and we have a history. We've learned meditation tools over the years, but never dreamed that it would come into play during a serious illness. And so once we heard those words that nobody in the world would really want to ever hear, we went into the mode of shock, overwhelm, disbelief. In my case, I didn't even recognize that the doctor had said stage 4. I heard cancer, and that was enough, right? It put me into the place that I was just shut down. So it took us a little time to regroup and to start to process it, and then to realize, look, we have to really call on those tools that have worked for us in normal life to start to help us get through this with greater ease. And jumping forward to COVID, I think what we've learned is like we're sharing this experience of overwhelm, shock, disbelief, uncertainty, worry, am I going to die? And so our mortality now comes into play. How can we, and when we're thinking those thoughts, we're not really in this moment, right? We're thinking way ahead of something that has not actually happened to us. And you have to jump back to the question, am I okay right now? And so those tools that we talked about and we'll talk about have to do with bringing us back to the moment, the present moment, the now, and looking at things from a slightly different perspective.
Or how to shift out of that perspective, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that, because I remember when I heard dermatomyositis, first off, I didn't know what the word meant. So I guess, I know what the word cancer means, right? I didn't know what dermatomyositis was. But I remember my ears went closed too. It was like almost entering a different world. I don't remember a whole lot after seeing the body language meant, okay, this isn't good, but I didn't know what the word meant. And that whole shock and fear, and I want to add the word grief in there. I think I went through a lot of grieving period of a life I thought I'd lost, and all of these sorts of things. And I feel like the whole world now is going through those same types of things that I experienced 7 years ago, and you guys experienced with Dave's diagnosis, and wow.
And
so
how much of that is anticipatory grief, where it's not even that we're grieving, it's happening right now, but we're looking ahead, like we've kind of decided that this is going to happen, that something is going to happen, or there's going to be a certain kind of change or loss, and that's not really real at this time, but we tend to go into that mode of anticipatory grief.
Right, exactly. Right now same with in the throes of treatment, in the throes of David's treatment, when it was starting to get harder and harder and harder, right? To be grateful and we can get through this. That's when the meditation or the little things we were doing along the way that meant the most. Today, we're probably going to talk quite a bit about gratitude, or any derivative of love or virtue of love, and how it always cures the fear. So in the throes of the treatment, when he kept losing weight and feeling worse, and he couldn't eat, and sleep, all these things, right? This is when the tools that we were using along the way really meant the most. And that's what's happening now with COVID. People are kind of reaching that level of like, I can't take another day of this, is too much, right?
Right. So, I'm hearing that a lot.
So am I. So are we, absolutely. And so what we were really excited when you asked us a few days ago to join you and talk about, how to reduce this incredible stress right now, because, our plan is to bring people into this moment and even talk about, literally down to the molecular level, what's actually happening, and how can we turn this around for ourselves? Right now, I don't know about you, Sharon, but it feels like 52 card pickup. Like everything we thought we knew is just the way it is, the way life is. It's just all thrown up in the air, and it's still, flying down, and let's see where they end up landing, right? But that's where we are. We're in this sort of, it feels like chaos right now. Cards are still in the air.
It feels like chaos on multiple levels, not just, I'm not going to get into politics of any of all of it, but it's not just the pandemic right now. There's so much change, including we're just coming off of learning about the horrific hurricane. So in my mind, it's like, oh my God, just 2020 is one of those years that, I don't know, decades from now with grandkids on our knees, we'll be saying things about it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think for a majority of us, I'm thinking back, even diagnosis or whatever, this year has been as if anything was ever predictable. But this year is sort of just, in my mind, less predictable than anything. Every time I read some new headline or someone tells me something, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, why not?
Sure, throw it on into the mix of things, yes.
Yeah, not that I worried about it, but I was reading a headline of, I forget what state it was, but they had a bubonic plague or something. And when I read that, I went, well, sure, why not? Let's just throw that in there too.
Bring it on.
It's got my snarky fatalistic humor comes out during these times, I guess. And I find laughing at it is one way to do it, as well as you guys know about journaling and things. And I love your app, Loving Meditations, because first off, I want to say it's not geared just for cancer patients. It's not geared just for patients. I love it because you can use it anytime. Thriving and optimizing ourselves every day. So we'll be right back.
Life Interrupted Radio will return after these messages from our sponsors. It's great sponsors like these that keep this show coming to you every week. Be sure and stop by lifeinterruptedradio.com to learn more.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living. A chance to see new, hear different, and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Sharon, and of course you know me from here on the Autoimmune Hour. Maybe you don't know I'm also an author. My latest book is for kids. It's Pinky Chenille and the Rainbow Hunters, a winner of a 5-star Reader's Favorite review. It's perfect for your early reader and a great bedtime story for your young adventurers. Check it out over at pinkychenille.com. That's PinkyChenille.com. See you there. I'm Sharon Sayler from SharonSayler.com. OMTimes.com. And tonight we're here with Tamara Green and David Dachinger, and they are an amazing couple who are the driving force behind lovingmeditations.com. And that all started when they heard those 6 horrible words that changed everything. And that was, David, you have stage 4 cancer. Now, David and Tamara, as a couple, ferociously fought back, and they're both in shining health now and committed to Loving Meditations, which is all about providing meditations to stay calm and grateful and even optimistic during serious health challenges. And so let's talk a little bit about the power of meditation and why it's so helpful in keeping us grounded and in the present moment.
Sure. And we've recently started to think more along the lines of shifting in a quicker time frame. In other words, when you think of meditation, the word tends to bring up an image of someone sitting on top of a mountain in a lotus position for an hour, or you've got to go into a quiet, dark room for 20, 30 minutes. And that's an effective practice, no doubt, the consistency, the daily routine of it. But we need quicker tools, right? Not everybody has that time. Not everybody has that ability to just take that break or to go into that room. So what we've started looking at is how can we shift quicker? And we see that we can shift sometimes as quickly as 1 minute using some really simple techniques. And you could be doing them in a public place. Nobody even knows you're doing it. And so we introduced them earlier, but during COVID became a time when we really started to push them out and make them available and share them with the world. I'll let Tamara talk a little bit more about them, but the power of being able to shift in that moment can take us out of that mind of fear and obsessing about the future and really bring us back to like, okay, what's going on right now? What's right about this moment? And am I okay?
For me, it opens up that idea of the question in a snarky way. It's sort of like, okay, what's next? How giving it that kind of bubonic plague fatalism thing to it. But in my mind, I'm always asking myself, what's my next step? It's not like what's next, but what's next? What's in this moment? And then what's the next moment?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And not to take anything away from being prepared and being well informed. In order to get through these extreme kind of conditions and situations that we're in, we need to be well informed and we need to be prepared to a certain extent. Maybe not stockpiling, months worth of supplies, but we got to do what we have to do to reasonably protect ourselves and others. But with that foundation, we know we're good there, then we can move on to, okay, how can I handle the rest of my experience? Like, instead of being in crazy fear mode all the time, how can I start to look at this as an opportunity to explore what's going on with me and the rest of the world?
Well, crazy fear mode actually depletes our immune system, so that's not helpful either.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The more fear we're feeling, the more susceptible we are to maybe COVID or any other kind of disease or
and
whatever.
Including a flare of our autoimmune conditions. Just the stress and fear of it can cause a flare and cause inflammation in our body, which, as we all know, it's not the ideal way to stay healthy and strong to fight anything that's out there. Flu season's coming on too, guys, so we just have to be prepared. And one of the ways is to do meditation. So, Tamara, what are your thoughts on meditation? I know you help a lot of people in your work as a counselor. So what's your thoughts on it?
I'm actually going to talk about it in a new way that I've never really talked about it before. And that's what it does down to the molecular level, right? You've heard this before, Sharon. I am are the most powerful words that we can say. Whatever follows I am it's a creation. You're literally in a creative process when you're saying I am. So when you say I am afraid, I am depressed, I am anxious, you're literally creating more of that, right? Now, yes, that may be how you feel. So the first part of what I want to talk about in terms of meditation, like the importance of mantra, especially when you follow the words I am. And when you say I am, boom, you're right in the present moment, right? You're not in the past or the future. You're right here, right now when you're saying it, although you may be worried about, resenting something in the past or worried about something in the future as you say, I am anxious or whatever. But what follows I am is very, very important. And so if you are, and I am a proponent, I want you to be very conscious of what's going on, like being in fear. But if you can be mindful or conscious of how you express that to yourself and to the world, instead of saying, I am anxious, maybe you could say something like, anxiety. Yeah, interesting, right? Isn't that interesting that there's some feeling of anxiety? So you're not like labeling yourself as I am anxious or I am depressed or I am in fear or I am confused.
being more curious about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it? Anxiety.
It's interesting that we've had Sarah Payton on frequently, who's an expert in neurobiology, and she talks a lot about those words and using words of, I wonder, or isn't that curious, or I find that interesting. And I have been practicing that, Tamara, and you're right. It does take a lot of the angst away from it all. It's fascinating that I'm not, I guess to me, when you're saying I am anxious, it's no different than saying things like I am stupid or something. I mean, just locks right into our unconscious mind, doesn't it?
Exactly. So anxiety, anger, I'll list a whole bunch, greed, uncertainty, these are all derivatives of the source energy of fear. Fear. That's all fear-based, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're saying, I am anxious, I am depressed, I am angry, I am, I feel so uncertain, whatever, you're literally, and whatever you say, whatever you focus on expands, right? That's how energy works. Spending more time of your conscious awareness on the fear part. What cures fear always, 1,000% of the time, is any derivative or virtue of love. So understanding, curiosity, compassion, interest, gratitude, those always cure fear. So when you suddenly say, I'm so curious about this feeling of anxiety that I'm having, then suddenly you're literally starting to cure the very fear that just came up in your system. So of course, these, feelings of fear or thoughts of fear are going to surface because it's the only way for them to leave. And what's happening now in such an intense way is all these unresolved feelings, not only from our own, we're so empathic as human beings. We're like antennas, and we're picking up the whole world's amount of fear and anxiety or depression, right? But we're kind of claiming it as ours, and it's not always ours, but it's coming through us because it's the only way for it to leave. Feelings, emotions need motion in order to leave. So yes, you're going to feel these feelings. They're going to come up, but we don't make a big deal out of it. We just get really curious. And then by doing that, we're allowing them to leave our system.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds wonderful. We need to take a quick commercial break. I want you guys to contemplate that. And David, can you share with us a quick little meditation to take us out on a commercial break?
Yes. If you're sitting down, focus on the chair that's supporting your legs and your back, and take a deep breath and feel your feet firmly planted on the ground. You just touch base with your body and the chair that's supporting your body and the ground that's supporting your feet. One more deep breath. drop from your mind down into your body and all the way into the floor and below. And feel the earth supporting the floor, supporting your feet, supporting the chair, and supporting all of us.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Change and growth are part of natural life, and also part of your spiritual life. Everyone needs support and guidance, especially during life passages. Upgrade yourself with the OMTimes Experts program. With OMTimes Experts, you have access to the best intuitive coaches, spiritual teachers, counselors, astrologists, and oracles. Our team was carefully selected so you can trust. Find out more at experts.omtimes.com.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for inspired conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Research shows we apologize up to 10 times a day, and most of the time, we say sorry as a response to someone else's mistake. What if we thanked people instead of all that unnecessary apologizing? So instead of saying, sorry, I'm rambling, you say, thank you for listening. Join us at projectforgive.com, a free, non-religious resource on global forgiveness.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Autoimmune Hour. I'm Sharon Sayler from SharonSayler.com. And tonight we're here with Tamara Green and David Dachinger. And they are an amazing couple who are the driving force behind lovingmeditations.com. And that all started when they heard those 6 horrible words that changed everything. And that was, David, you have stage 4 cancer. Now, David and Tamara, as a couple, ferociously fought back, and they're both in shining health now and committed to Loving Meditations, which is all about providing meditations to stay calm and grateful and even optimistic during serious health challenges. And so thank you so much. I really appreciate that you've been sharing with us this idea of staying in the present moment, what that really means, and how we can bring ourselves back to the present moment when we're overwhelmed with just the news out there anymore. It's, it's funny. I keep thinking like pre-COVID news, and gosh, to me, that sounded as scary. But now when I read the news, it almost feels scarier, which doesn't make sense because there was a lot of scary news pre-COVID too. I don't get why, to me, other than I must be just in sort of a hyper state of awareness. And part of that hyper state of awareness is after these 6 or 7 months that it's been, I'm almost feeling drained, or like, okay, can I get out of the deep end of the pool yet? Let's talk about this.
So many people were in that mode, right? If no matter what you do for a job, some sense we were all energetically pulled into this incredible whirlpool of so much going on so quickly, so many changes to the fabric of our daily life, right? And some people I know pulled back and decided, I'm just going to chill and regroup and use this as a time to reflect. We chose the opposite. We went into like full-blown creative mode. And, in hindsight, maybe we should have taken a little more time to chill. But I was still working as the firefighter. We were doing what we always do and responding to calls, and having to change how we responded to calls by wearing different gear and more gear, and having protocols in place so we know if we're going to a COVID patient. And that's just I'm just sharing that because it added a layer of stress and more stuff to do, and possibly more fear, anxiety, not just for us, but for the people that call 911. And so it just starts to build on itself, right? We're picking up their fear, and, you know, they know that we're protecting ourselves. We can't relate to our patients the same way anymore because they can't see our face, or we can't touch them, make contact like we normally do. So now all this stuff has been churned up and thrown out the window from normal, you know, the normal way of doing things. And so how do we come back to, like, you know, how do we gravitate back to some grounding, some kind of life existence that feels better? There's a number of things that we found that work, and have heard anecdotally from other folks who are finding ways to kind of come back to earth and come back to, like, some kind of grounded life. And one of the things that I like is the concept of a menu, to develop just a list of things, like your go-to things that help you get grounded and get present. And that could be essential oils. It could be gardening. It could be petting your dog.
Cooking.
For me,
cooking and gardening for me.
Yeah. And
I was out cutting my broccoli the other day.
Yeah. And how do you feel when you're out there with your plants and your vegetables?
David, he's gotten into roasting coffee beans, the most delicious coffee.
That's something I just never dreamed I would do, but it just sort of presented during COVID, and it became a really totally sensory experience that I really enjoyed. You know, in that moment, that's all I'm kind of focused on, is the coffee and the process and the sound of it, the smell of it, the feel of it. Great. For me, it was like, you know, became one of my go-to menu items. So
that and making hot sauce.
So if we have like a menu of several items that kind of bring us back and put us more into a feel good, grounded moment, that I think really helps. I certainly subscribe to the idea of limiting how much news we watch and how we get our news, that we're not bombarded by it all the time, and just sort of take in whatever is, you know, useful and important, but not to oversaturate, because that really can take us down a deep wormhole can be difficult to recover from.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, including what I'll say during this time. There's certain people in my world that I've had to limit my time with. I was just like, okay,
yes,
I've worked to help them see that it's not all doom and gloom yet. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, if I, I have to realize that's not my job to fix them. And I was like, okay, I still love them, still acknowledge them, but I've had to make sure that there's a certain shield for my own wellness and my own well-being. And that's really from my place. I was like, that was a difficult decision to make. Yet I feel better. I'm glad that I made the choice, because I had noticed, oh my gosh, when I'm with that person, or even just video chatting with that person, I come away and I'm just feeling extra depleted. And so
I'm shaking my head so much because I've had the same experience. And yeah, it just, I noticed how much it was just taking me down, and that wasn't helping myself or all the other people that I'm, that we're out there to help,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Now, you guys have been crazy busy also composing new meditations. Do you have one that you can share with us today?
Absolutely. This is completely just going to be coming through us. It's not like we practiced anything, but
we get a newbie.
Yeah, exactly. So as maybe people can tell, or maybe they can't tell, we are in our music studio, which is in our basement. This is where we create so much of what ends up on the Loving Meditations app. So David has a keyboard
and lots of other toys in the wings here.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition to that, one of the things that came out of COVID for us was we wanted to play more, right? We wanted to play with our friends and our very, very talented people that we know in the world of meditation and mindfulness. We created a broadcast called Peaceful Oasis Live, where we live stream music and meditation from 2 different locations. Generally, we've done them with a friend in Peru, a friend in California. We have folks all over the world. So this is kind of going to be a sort of a sample of what Peaceful Oasis Live is like.
I did not know about that, guys. Oh, this is so exciting, everyone.
Yes. So it's probably going to be, no more than a couple minutes long, because we really want this. We want people to know that it doesn't take long to shift into the present moment and into calm. So if you're not driving, go ahead and
thank you for the disclaimer there. Yes, absolutely.
If you're not operating a large machine, go ahead and relax or close your eyes all together. I'm closing mine. And if you're sitting, make sure your feet are flat against the floor, so you can feel that sense of earth grounding you. And with the focus on your inhale, breathe in a full breath of pure light and love. Exhale with the intention of releasing stress, letting it go. Breathing into your relaxed, open belly, opening that diaphragm. Exhale with the intention of releasing tension around your eyes, mouth, and jaw. Breathing into your soft, open belly. Exhale, consciously relieving tension in your neck and shoulders. Breathing in. Exhale and have all that accumulated fearful, stressful thought just run down your body, down to your feet. Breathing in and exhale, and all the stress just runs out of your feet and into the earth, letting the earth soak it up. And just imagine right now, because it really is so, you have nothing but pure potential energy that we can call electrons. We have pure energy that is at our service, and we get to create with it right now. So choose this moment to breathe in a fresh batch of pure love energy into our entire system. And then exhale with a smile on your face. You're now creating what you would love to feel. Maybe peace. So breathing in pure love. And exhale with a sense of renewed calm and peace. 3 more breaths like this. Breathe in pure love. Exhale so much peace and calm. Breathing in pure love and light into our system. Exhale, peace, 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 and it expands around you as you continue to exhale. And last deep breath in, pure love. Exhale, peace. And before you open your eyes, just have the intention that this will carry with you throughout your day. When you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you so much. When you're ready, I'm ready just to curl up and stay there. So,
and sometimes that's the best thing to do, is just to allow yourself to rest or whatever you need right now. Although, Sharon, you need to wait a little bit before you take a rest.
Yeah, exactly. But what was coming to my mind when you said that, though, is I think that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, I'm exhausted," and they say something like, "Oh, well, take a nap or give yourself a break or take a walk or something." And I've got, now's the time. It's like a big reset button has been pushed in my mind, and now's the time to make new choices about having time to make hot sauce, having time to play in my garden. And just like David, you said about the coffee roasting, that's how I feel when I'm in my garden. The only thing at that time in my mind is the garden. And Tamara, the meditation you just guided us through, the only thing in my mind at that time was your voice and experiencing those experiences that were being guided for me, which is wonderful to just have those moments of what I call a big reset button.
Yeah, and David's incredible music, which always takes me to a whole nother level of peace. I don't know, it just really resonates throughout my body.
Now, if I'm remembering correctly, David, that was a brand new piece, right? You were just playing along with Tamara. Wasn't a pre-record. We got to hear something new and exciting and unique.
Some of it was pre-composed. Some of that was live too, yeah.
Awesome.
And Sharon, if you don't mind, I would love to talk a little bit more about electrons because I brought it up.
Absolutely. Let's go there.
So I don't think a lot of people understand or know. I certainly didn't until, I don't know, some years ago when I read about it. But we have a fresh supply of pure potential energy, which the very source of this energy is just pure unconditional love, right? Or you could even call it pure potential. Now, in our world, I guess maybe the best word for that are electrons. It's electrons, right? But what people don't really understand is that we are getting a fresh batch of this pure, creative, loving energy at our disposal. We are using our free will to create whatever we create with these electrons or this pure potential energy about every 10 seconds of our day. Every 10 seconds, we're getting a fresh new batch of this creative energy. Now, it's really up to us what we are doing with this fresh batch of pure potential energy. Right? These electrons are at service to our free will. So if we're choosing to use this energy for fear-based thoughts, feelings, or activities, then, like whatever you focus on expands. So if you're focused on what you're so afraid of or anxious about or feeling so uncertain about, that gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And then, of course, you have the thought and then the feelings and everything kind of kicks in and it just kind of takes over as we know. But if you can remind yourself that every 10 seconds, I get a chance to create, with this unbelievable batch of energy and I get to create whatever I want. And that's why at the beginning I talked about I am. The I am statement is, the I am is our highest, it's who we are in the highest form. I guess I'll put it that way, right? And we get to create whatever we want with these electrons at our service, at our free will. So that's what I meant about getting down to the molecular level. If we have this understanding that we're just in this constant state of creation, and maybe right now what's going on with COVID is, we've misqualified these electrons for so many centuries that right now we're really faced with all of this fear and doubt that we've created along the way. And now it's really up to us to make some major, major changes by actively, consciously creating what we really want to see in this world, what we desire. And that's where I keep going, or we keep going. We keep going to, the potential of what, the peace that we can feel within, which then spreads out and becomes peace around the entire globe.
That's wonderful. And I had no idea. What ran through my mind is because in my body language work, I talk a lot about breathing and how people are always disappointed when they say, so tell me about body language. I said, well, the number one body language you're judged on is your breathing. And they're also let down. But I think it's because it's with us all the time, similar to this recharging of our electrons every 10 seconds. Wow, that's amazing. We take these things for granted. Instead of understanding the miracle of breathing and the miracle of this recharging system and appreciating the miracle that beholds us, thousands of times a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact,
it's amazing to me.
It is. It's quite amazing. And I even think of breath as the breath of God, because every breath we take, if you can breathe, you can meditate, right? If you can breathe, you can be present. If you can breathe, you can create, because it's like the breath of God, or these electrons are coming in as pure potential for us to create whatever we want. So people will say to me, Tamara, I don't want this stuff that's coming. It's just making me more afraid and more doubtful and more uncertain. In my industry of psychotherapy, I don't know if you've ever heard this, Sharon, the fear is the wish. It's like whatever you're focused on, if you're focused on fear, it's almost like you're wishing it, because those electrons are going, okay, she wants more fear. Okay, more fear, more fear, more fear. Let's give her more situations or circumstances for her to be afraid of, because that's what her focus is. That's what she wants. That's her free will kind of thing. But it's not what you really want, but unconsciously, it's where we keep going. And as we grow up, it's like that. The fear actually becomes our protector in a way. But when we grow up and we're trying to do jobs and have relationships with one another, it really does get in the way. So thank you for protecting us, fearful thought. Thank you. I know you're trying to protect me, but you can go now. Bye.
Exactly.
And now let me step into peace, or let's go in our garden and just feel grateful. Feel so grateful for this little tiny moment of picking my broccoli, as you say, right? Yeah. Or for me, it's cooking and creating for my family, or wonderful roasted coffee.
I think having those little moments, and now to me is the time to be able to reassess things in our world, in our life. And I think that's critically important. And as always with Tamara and David, time flies. We're down to 8 minutes, guys. I want you to talk some more about loving meditations and how we can put this in practice into our life. Plus, I also didn't know you had this live. I'm so excited. I'm pretty sure I know who was on the show when you said Peru and California, because we share a lot of mutual friends.
Yes.
But share with us.
We are, we're just super excited. Part of what we've done with the app has been a collaborative model where, again, our very talented and amazing friends and colleagues have become sort of guest meditation facilitators on the app. And so that's a joy, because we play with them, and we create video and music with them. And so we just took it to a more sort of accessible platform where it's in the moment. And then we capture it, and it does usually go onto our YouTube channels and our app. So what is it that we're doing? Well, all our friends and collaborators have amazing, completely fresh perspectives, right? That something different than what Tamara and I would do. So our friend in Peru, we know that he loves talking about mindfulness because he's a world-renowned expert, but also he loves playing his native flutes. And so it's not just about playing the flute, it's the stories about the flutes, right? How did this flute come into his life? And his stories are amazing. He's going into the mountains of Peru with the indigenous people, and there are materials that go into the flutes that are from the earth or from nature. There are carvings in the flutes that are significant. And so it's more than just listening to him play music or lead a meditation. It's a totally immersive experience about these flutes and the whole story behind them. So that's what we're looking for, is kind of bringing our friends and colleagues and people perhaps we haven't met yet to co-create with us some amazing experiences for folks, absolutely free, which we live stream on Facebook and YouTube. And it's an opportunity to just tune into something that's, relaxing and contribute something rather than takes away.
Oh, awesome. So now how do we find that? What's the URL, or is there a schedule that I can tune into Facebook or YouTube and see it live?
Yeah, when you go to Loving Meditation's Facebook page and look under our live videos, all the upcoming videos, usually we just list one upcoming video at a time, will show up there in our live video section. And we do email blasts all the time. You can sign up to our mailing list, sign up on our mailing list at lovingmeditations.com. And there's an opt-in there for our mailing list. We'd be happy to keep you up to date on our next shows.
Wow, how exciting. And tell us a little bit about the app too, because if maybe I'm not a Facebooker or something, tell us about the phone app, because that's my favorite. And I'm sure these are going to be my favorite now, but because I didn't know about those, but.
Well, as you mentioned, Sharon, anytime, any place, right? Predicated on, I was in chemotherapy and needing something to take my mind off the discomfort and the blah of being, getting cancer treatment. So I would bring my phone and earbuds and listen to uplifting material. So what we've done is we put our meditations and mindfulness and activations and guided imagery onto an app form, iOS and Google Play Store. Free download with some premium content if you want to upgrade. It brings in so many different perspectives, different lengths. If you don't want to meditate long, we have short ones for 2 minutes. We have some for 5 minutes. We have some for 20 minutes if you're trying to fall asleep and you want something to carry you through the night. We have a whole playlist of sleep. We have them in Spanish for our friends who speak Spanish. We have some amazing Spanish meditation facilitators. So it's just kind of like this, our little ball of joy that we like sharing with the world. And the simplest place to get to it is calmcancerstress.com. That's our download page. And again, it's probably 90% not cancer specific. Anyone can enjoy these meditations. You don't have to be a cancer patient or survivor.
Or caregiver.
Absolutely. And it's been a joy to be on your journey as I've seen Loving Meditations from just a thought, just a little seed, into this amazing worldwide event. I just love it. And I love that you're doing it live now too. So excited. I'm going to search those out and join in. So everyone, this is David Dachinger and Tamara Green from lovingmeditations.com. Remind me again of the URL.
calmcancerstress.com.
calmcancerstress.com. Okay, great. That'll be up at understandingautoimmune.com as well. If you are, hopefully you weren't driving during Tamara's and David's awesome meditation, but if you didn't have a pencil in hand, go to understandingautoimmune.com. You can find all their information there as well, and share it with your family and friends, because right now this type of calming effect, this type of work is so critically important to helping us thrive and keep our immune systems lively and healthy as well. We've got to give ourselves this grace and time to rest. So everyone, have a great week, whatever your adventures. Join me next week for another brand new episode. Enjoy.
The information provided on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio, including the websites understandingautoimmune.com and lifeinterruptedradio.com, plus social media, is for educational purposes only. What you read, hear, and see on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio, and its websites, and other media outlets is based on experience only. The information should never be used for any legal, diagnostic, or treatment purposes. Always seek sound legal, medical, and or professional advice regarding any problems, conditions, and any of the recommendations you see, hear, or read here on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio.
Hi, this is Sharon, and of course you know me from here on the Autoimmune Hour. Maybe you don't know I'm also an author. My latest book is for kids. It's Pinky Chenille and the Rainbow Hunters, a winner of a 5-star Reader's Favorite review. It's perfect for your early reader and a great bedtime story for your young adventurers. Check it out over at pinkychenille.com. That's PinkyChenille.com. See you there. Do you want to be a better leader? Have better relationships? Become more self-aware? Be a better communicator? Hi, I'm Sharon Sayler, best-selling author, professional speaker, and executive coach. And my life passion is empowering professionals to be the best that they can be. After years of working with professionals, I've discovered the 7 things nobody is telling you that can cost you your clients, sales, and even your career. And I want to give it to you free. You've heard my show, you know my passion, and maybe we'll be working together sooner rather than later. So go grab this ebook now to find out the 7 things that's costing you big time over at SharonSayler.com/radio gift.